Well, good morning, though it's not exactly morning. As you might be able to tell, I am still sitting in a hospital room, but likelihood is we're going home this afternoon, if not most likely tomorrow. So things are improving much, much longer week than I expected it to be. But God is good. He has a plan, and we're just rocking and rolling. In the meantime, I got to actually do my face this morning before I sat down to talk to y'all. So, perks for everybody involved, right? You don't have to see my half asleep, messy hair. So, what I want to talk about today is the verse, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I say this to myself, and because of history, because of the way I was raised, there were a lot of things in my life that I shut down, that I accepted that I couldn't do because it was squelched for so long, or that I didn't. I'm not even quite sure how to say it. That I shut down myself because we lived in constant hiding and fear growing up. And so a lot of these things center around my house and getting things done and feeling like I can actually be a super mom, as they call it. And it's not a super mom, it's just staying on top of things and taking care of things in a timely manner and being organized and scheduled, and even knowing what a schedule is, all that fun stuff that, has been a big struggle for me. My gut instinct is to live by the seat of my pants, really. It's like, okay, cool, let's roll with it. And, that works really well in some situations and not quite as well in other situations, I'm discovering. So, God has been telling me lately, I was overhearing a silly Disney cartoon short. Sorry for all the movie references, but I hear these things in the background of my life some as I'm getting stuff done, and my kids are staying out from under my feet for a few minutes after they've been helping me all morning, and I'm like, okay, let's let you entertain yourself for a minute while I get stuff done. So I'm overhearing this cartoon in the background, and it's a silly little cartoon about this bunny rabbit who is the rabbit in the hat for this magician show. So the magician has this thing, he reaches into his hat, and the bunny is, and you can see in the back room behind where outside of the view of the curtain, off the stage, the bunny sitting on the little table and his hand coming down, and it's supposed to be underneath where the hat was, right? And the bunny rabbit is standing next to it, and he's not letting the magician pick him up and pull him out of the hat, right? This is what he's supposed to do. The bunny is, so I'm hearing this and I'm realizing, okay, the bunny is a picture of a helpless slave creature, right? And by the end of the show, this little tiny fluffy white bunny has fought back, and the magician is beat to pieces. He is nearly killed. All of his arms and legs are broken. His clothes are half missing. Of course, the audience thinks it's just supposed to be this way and hilarious, and they're cheering wildly. But the rabbit completely destroys this guy. And it's, of course, just a silly cartoon, so you're laughing because it's ridiculous. And completely impossible, all of it. But still, I'm listening to this, overhearing this while I'm in the kitchen, and realizing this bunny rabbit is this helpless little fluffy creature, right, that can't do anything. And God says, you think you can't, but you can. And I'm like, okay, what are we talking about here? So I've been praying about this. I've been pondering on this. And a couple days ago, I keep running into the verse, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so I keep running into this verse. Seems like it keeps popping up everywhere. And that's usually a pretty good clue that God's trying to get your attention, that the same thing keeps popping up every time you look. So I was like, okay, yes. And I felt like God told me the other day, he's like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I'm like, okay, I need to start speaking this truth into my life, because a part of me is still identifying with the helpless slave that shut down, that thinks I can't do. And I was thinking about this, and I'm quoting this verse to myself, and God says, stop right there. I can do all things. Don't say the rest of it. Just tell yourself this. Repeat this truth to yourself. I can do all things. And he showed me that, as twisted as it sounds, I was in my head taking this verse going, I can do all things. And then the end part, through Christ who strengthens me, using it as a crutch to negate the first part, if that even makes sense to you. But what it looks like is, I can do all things, but really only God can do all things. And on the one hand, it's truth. In my mind, I was using it to still allow myself to be helpless. And to say, I can do it through Christ, but basically making that into, I can't do it. And he said, quit saying the end of the verse. Just start saying, I can do all things. You know deep down to the very core of your being that nothing you do is of yourself. You can only do it through me. You know that to the core of your being. You don't need to say the rest of it. You just need to learn with your whole being that you can do. And so that was very interesting to me. It's like, how am I using this verse that is so liberating and freeing to bring it back full circle to end up meaning the opposite of what it's actually saying is what it ended up being. And just that God showed this to me and going, okay. So I've been saying to myself, I can do all things. End of story. Because I know that only anything can I do through Christ. But when I say that, I end up using it as a crutch to say, well, I can't really do it. And God says, you really can. You really can. So, for what it's worth, I hope that blesses someone. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to keep seeing this. And you all have a blessed day. Thank you very much.